Yeah, other than that, I have no opening. I mean,
Great.
ghosts.
You should go up to
Poltergeist.
the screen and go like, "They're here," and then flicker, and then we're on the screen, just like the movie.
Ooh, yeah.
So go do that now.
Okay. Poltergeist, 1982. A family's home is haunted by a host of demonic ghosts. PG horror thriller that was able to get away with a good bit for its time, especially.
I'd never seen it before. I really had no even much context for what this movie was about going into it. It was good. I liked it a lot. It struck me, honestly, more as like in terms of its storytelling, like a fantasy film rather than a horror film. Particularly, just it sort of skips out on the typical like suspense building tropes of like, taking a while for them to realize there's ghosts in the house, or maybe that foreboding or anything else. I thought it was interesting the way, pretty much right off the bat, everyone in the house realizes that it's haunted. And then from there, the tension is just about them fighting these evil forces rather than any sense of dread or foreboding or anything building up. I thought all that was well done. It was definitely like a good time, and then the very end just went absolutely nuts, which, also a fun time. But yeah, I like this one overall.
All right, so this being my first time seeing it, I actually saw my father, who's seen it before. He said he hadn't seen it from the 80s, and he wanted to see how well it held up. And holy cow, it was really fun to watch this with my father. This was an incredible film. It's really fun. I see why it's a classic. I see why it's a staple. I hate that they remade it, and I'd hate to see what they did with it. But holy cow, I can't wait to watch it again. I love this movie.
I am a big, big, big fan of this movie. Also, my first time seeing it. I've been trying to watch through a lot of Halloween classic movies. And this has been one of the only ones that's really not only met expectations, but blown them away. A lot of movies, like, I enjoy them and I can see why people like them, but don't really blow me away on their own. And if I had stumbled across them without knowing the standards people hold them to, I might not love them. But this one, wow. I love that it is also a family drama. I love all the really interesting things it has to say about like the modern American dream collapsing. There's so many cool elements and themes through it that they explore throughout the entire film. It's not a quick thing that's made an illusion, to which an illusion is made and then it's forgotten about. It is pervasive throughout the entire film. I like that it does manage to be eerie and atmospheric without really pushing for, a hard R rating or anything like that. I think it has really fun, compelling characters, and as you guys have said, what a finale. What an incredible way to end things. What an incredible, creative, fun way to end things. There's a lot of really fun camera work. One of my absolute favorite shots is when the paranormal activity happens in the kitchen, and then it changes to what you think is the exact same kitchen empty, but it's just the kitchen from another house, and that's how identical all the houses are. There's just so many cool elements to it. So many things that feel so intentional and feel like so much attention to detail was put into this film. It's one of my favorites on this list, I think.
Yeah, one thing that I want to call attention to is how well all the characters are written. They add so many characters to this movie, a movie that's kind of dense for 2 hours. There's so much that goes on. It feels like you're watching a season of like a short series. And every new character they introduce, you kind of feel like, okay, well, oh man, why are they going to throw in new characters in the middle of the movie? And then they have something to do, and they have something to, like a moment. They have, like, even till the very end, where, what I thought was the finale, there's that old lady that they bring in who's, like, kind of experienced in doing all this. And I thought she was going to be kind of like a joke, but then she becomes kind of important, and she even gets, like, a funny moment.
You've never done this before! Neither have you! You're right, you go!
It feels like life or death in this PG setting. Like, it doesn't strive, like you said, it doesn't strive for an R rating. It actually, with those restraints, It feels like, hey, let's see how far we could actually push the limits of this PG rating, and let's see how much we could like scare people without actually having to be so overt about it.
Kind of similar to one or two of the other films we'd been talking about. I like, and even more so for this film, because this film is not designed for children, but it also still does not have an inherently cynical nature to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like most characters inherently mean well, and things overall end up pretty all right. I feel like so many modern possession movies and paranormal movies are inherently pretty cynical and harsh and negative. It's kind of cool having one that still has a sort of sense of innocence and naivete about it, I think. While still, again, being eerie and have some cool effects.
I was a big fan of just all of the practical effects and camera work they did, too.
Yes.
In particular, that one scene where, I forget if it was the mom or the oldest daughter, but when she's, like, going around like the walls of the room and like rolling from the wall to the ceiling to the wall, like that just looked so good and so well done. And I don't know if they rotated the room or whatever, but just a lot of shots like that were just phenomenal.
Yeah, actually, like something that I noted about that scene, Nightmare on Elm Street came out 2 years later and had a very similar effect, and I was surprised for even 1984 that they had it. But I was even more blown away that 2 years earlier someone did it in kind of a family film. I was just surprised at how much they were able to pull off in this movie and still make it look so clean and hold up so well.
Nothing in this movie really looks that dated.
No, it's so weird thinking about the fact that like
Yes,
this is an older movie than Nightmare, because Nightmare shows its age and shows its age hard, and like this does only to the extent that there is dated technology and fashion, and that is it.
I would also like to know that this is like the most Spielberg feeling movie without it being directly directed by Steven Spielberg. He wrote it and he produced it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can definitely tell his style's all over it.
Oh yeah, it feels like he had like a heavier hand than just producing it. It feels like he was almost behind the camera the entire time.
Yeah. Jaws is the only other straight like horror movie that he's had a heavy hand in, right?
Michael, yeah, you're right. That was the only movie that he's actually directed. Oh yes, okay. One thing I'd like to point out is that this movie fools you into thinking that it has a 3-act structure, and then the finale happened. I looked at my father. I said, "I'm surprised there's 20 minutes in this movie. I thought there was gonna be 20 minutes of wrap up." Oh boy. Is it not? It fools you and makes you feel like a fool, seeing like all the crap that goes down and ends completely differently than you think it would.
That build up to the finale too, where they're all just in the house chilling out and it's just silent, is chilling.
Yeah.
That to me is the only like actual suspenseful part of the movie, but it is so well done.
There are multiple movies on this list, some of the more popular Halloween choices that I will probably be watching for the next few years every Halloween. I can pretty easily see myself watching Poltergeist every year for Halloween for the indefinite future. It has definitely struck a chord with me. It, as you said, it's one of the films in this list I've been the most invested in. And I think it's been the most creative and done the most interesting things. I love how it's both eerie and atmospheric, a compelling family drama, and really incorporating deeper themes that resonate throughout the entire film than rather just pranced about briefly. I think it has amazing effects. I think it has great music, great characters, great performances. And what a finale. I highly recommend this film. I know we're going to try to do some of our top choices at the end, and this is probably going to be up there for me. I love this movie.
Yeah, absolutely. This movie is very good. I don't know if it quite resonated with me as deeply, but it still is a very solid movie on a technical level, on a storytelling level. Yeah, and just in terms of creating a spectacle. Like, this is one of those cases where they create a spectacle, but also put very solid substance behind it. So yeah, I definitely recommend it.
So yeah, I very much so recommend this movie to anyone who's in the mood for something that is it works within the guise of being a PG film and stays within the standards for the time of what made that, like, what makes this a family film technically, but has so much lore to it and has so much to explore there and so many like well-written characters to attach to. And like I said before, it's super dense with just different parts of the story that they go to. But overall, it's a truly terrifying, spooky movie that you could watch with your family and get so much out of it and still be like, might be super scared by it. Like, okay, you might end up like how Nathaniel felt, like where it doesn't resonate with you as much, but you will still get something out of it, either on a technical level or on just from the level of seeing the original of how it happened. If you like Stranger Things, I think you would like this movie as well. It's kind of like seeing the original after seeing someone do something very well.
Poltergeist. It knows what scares you.
Anyway, that's the end of another one of our episodes. God, I loved this movie. Thank you so much for dropping by for another episode. And what we have coming up next is... God, let me finish my monologue. I had this monologue and you guys just stomp on it every single time. Thank you guys for stopping by for another episode. What we got coming up next is Friday the 13th. God, I have some choice words for this movie. It's gonna be a fun discussion either way. I don't regret watching most movies that I've seen, but I have some choice words for this one.
I'm glad I know what's coming next.
Yeah, isn't that cozy? Your tool bags. Goodbye, everyone. I love you. Like and subscribe.
I like you.
That doesn't work anymore. That's it. You broke me.